What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Sullivan Project Podcast. I'm your host, Harold Sullivan. I hope you all are realizing you're having a blessed day, regardless, because every day is a miracle, and you're still here to do something. You know what I mean? Just like I'm here. If y'all haven't tuned in before, I've been blind 4 years now, over 4 years, and I've been in a little power wheelchair since I was a child. I was born with an autoimmune disease. So you never know what's going to happen. Something could happen to you one day and you're just going along, or you could be born with something. Everyone has a story, and you can't judge a book by its cover. And that's what this show is about, this podcast. And we have guests too, audio or video, if you want to come on here and talk, just about anything or get stuff off your chest. Uh, and we don't call it crying and complaining. You know what I mean? Your pain is your strength, not your weakness. So we all have to learn, and sometimes people go through stuff so other people can maybe have an easier path. But if you don't share, then how do they know they can make it and they can go from A to B? You know. So if you want to check out previous episodes, we're on YouTube and TikTok, Harold Sullivan 78, and Facebook Harold Sullivan period 35, and then you can email hs19782015 at outlook.com, and you can even call the show 724-513-1472. And thanks to Elvis, got a new promo there. I'm working on the equipment here, trying to figure out how to play this and that. Like I said, I'm blind and got a little GoPro camera I'm doing here that beeps, so that's the only way I'll know when it's on or off. And sometimes it doesn't work right. You know what I mean? I got to record things over, but I'm making it. Like I said, I'm here for something. I started believing in something more and more through my life, and then when I hit rock bottom after I lost my sight, that's when I found the all and realized that this is just a speck. You know what I mean? And we gotta enjoy what we can. Then we'll go to the next thing. It's something different. So we got a lot to talk about here. I was trying to get Greg. I don't know. He didn't call me back the other day, so. And so a few times we scheduled. That's happened with a couple people though. You schedule podcasts, sometimes stuff happens, and so I'm gonna do. I gotta keep on recording though. You know, I told God when one night I said I'm gonna do. I quit breathing 20 times. I have sleep apnea, but one night I was just after probably not sleeping for at least 2 weeks. They said the record's 11, or it might not be now, but it was. Uh, but after I lost my sight, yeah, for first few weeks, I was just laying in bed, pretty much depressed. And I got to the point one night when it was pretty much like, "You're here to do something, or come with me now." And I decided to stay here no matter what, and it's tough, but I want to keep trying, and that's why I got a podcast. I want to write a book. If y'all want to help, let me know. I could use it. We all need help. But lots of subjects, like I said, I was going to talk to Greg about. We'll get him though soon. He actually turned me on to a place that I'm going to talk about here. And there's all kinds of movies. Superman's blowing up. I actually have some Superman stuff on the show now, or up on the channels. We got some new promos, some celebrities, a new slogan: the dead live on the Sullivan Project Podcast, because I want to bring a voice to the voiceless. And some celebrities have passed on, but they're going to still be on the show one way or another. So check out for stuff like that, and some movie trailers that I've been putting up. I have a little bit of help. My sister helping me with social media and stuff. She has a full-time job as well, so I do what I can with a little bit of help. I can't really use a computer being blind, so I got to use the brain to figure out everything and then kind of dictate it to someone else how to do. But where there's a will, there's a way, right? So, and plus I'm feeling a little sick the last few days and puking and stuff again. So I always got stomach problems. I think it's because of my body and my intestines, and I have maybe different size organs. My body is small. I only weigh 70 pounds. Uh, and I sit all day, every day. So I just don't have a good problem. And I'm getting sores on my rear and legs and stuff from sitting. I've been sitting for 40 something years almost. I mean, I lay at night, but I sit all day every day. But I'm not trying to come on here and complain. I want to just let people know. You don't know who, you don't know what that other person next to you is going through because they don't tell you, they don't show you. But inside, they could be just suffering. And maybe just giving them a hug will just make their year, you know? Like when somebody used to open a door for me, you know what I mean? There's a lot of rude people. I'd have to hit the button to open the door. And there's some people that would open the door for me, and that just made my day. And but let's first get on to mood.com. Okay, I'm not I don't do any of this. They don't sponsor. But I've been hearing about Mood on Supernatural Then and Now, which is a podcast I listen to. And of course, we've had like a dozen cameos on here. We do have celebrities uh, guests on the show, so go check those out on the social media. And some more music I'm working on. I'm trying to bring out a few people, signed on a few people. I don't really want to give away the names, but go check it out. I don't want to spoil till we finally get them on there and doing promos for the show. And so mood.com is supposed to be all natural, blah, 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 THC and all that, right? And as y'all know, I have the medical marijuana card. So in Pennsylvania, we got to go to the dispensary and pay out the butt. But I usually get gummies and vapes, disposables. And like I said, I got to pay for them, even though it's pain. It's supposed to be for my pain and anxiety, you know. So anyway, this mood.com is supposed to be, you don't need a card. They send whatever to your door. And I don't believe that stuff, you know what I mean? Or it's fake weed is what they call it. So I spent some money, 20% off your first order, $5.99 shipping. So good stuff, all grown and made where they're at, supposedly in Oklahoma. 3-day shipping, pretty fast. So I was like, let me try a couple things and I'll let people know. Honest review, if it helps me, and I have high tolerance, it'll help people. So I ordered a Rice Krispie treat thingy. It was about $10, $11. Pretty good. It's the softest Rice Krispie thing I ever got. I mean, it falls apart when you just touch it. And there's supposed to be THC in there, 10 CBD, 10 THC. Well, it was a 50 milligram piece, so I broke it up because I don't play all that. So I believe it actually was working. I mean, it's weird, you know what I mean? I got some gummies from them. Peachy rings, they're more expensive, 60 for only 10. But they're potent. And then they got all kinds of edibles, and they even have weed, whatever, green. And I got just a little rolled up cone tube thing they call it, and went out on the porch with my brother-in-law. And this is all legal weed, of course, because it's coming from Oklahoma. You don't need a card. Anybody can order it on the mail or order it through the mail, either on the phone or go to mood.com. And it worked. I mean, it might not have been the best. They said it was 28%, which is pretty decent. But I quit smoking like that a while back. I just vape because I just too much on my lungs. I used to do cigars back in the day, one every hour. Rolled up Garcia Vegas, the Phillies, they call them, Senators. Oh my gosh, White Owl. And one time I smoked an ounce in a couple of days, and that was just, but a couple of people helped me too. So you know how that is when you get stuff. Scavengers, they used to call them, come out. But mood.com, I mean, I think it does work. And for me, with my high tolerance, and I tried the products, and I still got a good bit left. So I would recommend it. I don't know if I'm going to go there and get it anymore because you got to order it online and all that. But if you can't get it, you can get it there. Seriously, it's a pretty good supplement for marijuana. Mood.com. So now, actually, Greg turned me onto this place right in this area in Ambridge, Pennsylvania, and it's called Lord Green, and it is the same type of deal. One of them head shop, smoke shop, no card needed, no medical card. So again, I'm going there. They got everything in their brother, and I wanted to just like get a vape to try. They got 3-gram pens, 3-gram disposable vape for $55. I pay $78 for 2 grams at my dispensary with my card. That's ridiculous. That's what I mean. And they got gummies there too. And I tried the gummy. The lady gave me a couple free gummies. And they worked. It seemed like they worked just as well. The pen seems good. And I'm going to be saving half the money if I continue to go there. So I'm going to try the stuff a little bit more to see how long it lasts and all that, because I don't want to go from one thing to another, but it's all legal. Go right in the shop and get it. I mean, that, and it can be smoked anywhere, done anywhere. You know what I mean? Because some places are stingy on stuff, even if it's medical. You have a medical card and it's legal medical. Like the federal, the state, and the laws are just all yuck. But so thanks for Greg. He been telling me about that place, and I just was like, hey, I just don't like trying. I know it works for me, and I don't want to be poisoned or have side effects. But I tried it. I listened a little bit to try to open up because you never know where the message is going to come from. You know what I mean? And he's been telling me a few times. And so there's two different places I tried, but I like the place around here. And it's called, in case they listen, I gave them a couple cards for the podcast. It's called Lord Green. It's on it's on Merchant Street in Ambridge, Pennsylvania. And you can go right in and get your stuff. Good prices. They even got candy, chocolate bars. I want to try a chocolate bar, but they make them there and they were out. So I got wheezing here. I don't know what this is. I think it was that day I came back from there. I started feeling sick the last few days. I don't go out much anymore. Maybe once a month or a couple times a month. I need people to help me. You know, I need help. I need love. But we all do. You know what I mean? So let's get into some movie reviews here. The Marvels, I checked that out recently, and I of course missed Marvel a while back. And again, it's just like Madam Web and a few of these other new Marvel movies. I'm not feeling them. You know, it's just kind of boring, and they're just like throwing together movies now, really almost TV quality, like some of the Disney Plus shows. And I don't even know what I'd rate the Marvels. 6.5 maybe. I don't even want to go. I don't go too low on movies, and I don't go high, really above 8. So, but I'll do that. And the plot, I don't even really. Oh yeah, the one girl got powers, touching this portal that this guy opened, and she became like Miss Marvel. And then there was a group of them. It just didn't really need to be made, basically. So that's some of the plot. I don't want to ruin it. But the one girl it was a little girl in Miss Marvel, is grown up, and she's like this army person, and she's the one that gets powers. And so there's a couple Marvels now. And yeah, so that's how you do that. There's a documentary, 50 Years of Jaws, which everybody knows about Jaws and Spielberg and how the shark never worked. That's why they only showed it a couple times. They made like a 20-something foot shark. They were originally thinking about 30-something foot, but that was just too big. And at the time, I forget what the biggest one was, like 20-something feet. It was pretty big. Because I remember years ago, they had a picture online you might be able to find where there was a giant shark hanging, and they had it by a crane and a rope, and there was a guy standing next to it. And it was like 3 times as big as this guy. And so they used a shark. Jaws is made from a book, too. Very good book. I recommend that. There's stuff different about the book. But overall, it's pretty much probably 80-90% the same as the movie, I'd say. So there's a very good documentary. Check that out. Computer, what are my stickies?
I found 45 notes. Move Dispensary, Indiana. Jaws the Marvel Spiderman animated.
Computer, stop. This is how I take notes, and I've been writing songs. And like I said, I got albums with AI music and some other stuff. But we just had Louis from American Idol sing some of one of my original songs. So go check that out on the podcast. We're gonna do, how about Indiana Jones franchise? I recently went back and listened to all the movies since I lost my sight. Of course, I had seen them all, except for the last one. I was blind for maybe the last two. No, just the last one, The Dial of Destiny, which was garbage. And I reviewed that recently. The last two were the first 3. I think there's 5 now. I can't even remember. My God, I don't think there's 2 trilogies. But the first 3 were just great. I mean, that would have been one of the greatest trilogies had they stopped there. Of course, I did a greatest trilogies podcast recently, or not recently, but a few months back, or maybe last season. So go check that out too. I got all kinds of brackets. There's thousands of subjects and stuff we've talked about on the show. I just want to bring different things for everybody to come on, and like it's a podcast for about everything for everyone. The podcast about everything for everyone. And Indiana Jones, the first one, basically Indiana Jones is an archaeologist, but he's nicknamed after the dog. His name is Henry Jones Jr. Sean Connery plays his dad in part 3, which is just iconic and great.
Notification from Outlook.
Oh yeah.
Hulu.
Oh,
Hey
okay.
Harold, Sullivan looking for something to watch.
Oh wow,
Might
advertisement
be easy
from the
decision.
talking computer.
Open Hulu.
I got
You and
computers that
browsing
talk.
hit
I
play
got
all day, whether
Alexas
it's a
that talk.
classic
I
film,
got phones that
a
talk.
Hulu original, or
My
the
gosh,
latest
I really
reality
am in
TV
Star
EP.
Trek.
Don't just sit there.
I wish it would be.
Sit there and watch
Sometimes it just
captivating
does it in the
stories
middle
on
of the night
Hulu.
too, though. It just reads out the
Start streaming buzzworthy stories.
subject and some of the
Actions. One of one window.
email, not all of it. But anyway, the first Indiana Jones, he's trying to find the lost Ark, the Covenant from the Bible. So, and Indiana Jones always takes place in not modern times, but in the past. So it's probably the 30s or 40s, I'd say the first one, maybe the 20s, 1920s. Uh, and then so he's looking for that. And then there's a Temple of Doom where the second one is just very gory and nasty. They're eating brains out of monkeys, and there's all these bugs. And Indiana Jones, he does not like snakes. That's his one thing. And Harrison Ford's actually a pilot, became a pilot, a good pilot in real life. So, and after that, he was flying in the movies, and he pretended like he couldn't fly. He probably learned how to fly after that. But in the movies, he would end up having to fly sometimes, and whatever he had to do to save the people or save himself, and he did. And the third one was Raiders of the Lost Ark. So they were looking, or the Last Crusades. So they were looking for the cup of Christ that you wouldn't die, like you could drink it and live forever if you drank from. And that's where Sean Connery was, and it was neat, you know what I mean. And then part 4 was Shia LaBeouf or whatever Shia LaBeouf his name. I did not like that. They brought him in this spoiler Indy's son, and they were looking for the crystal skull, which is different, which is supposed to be a real thing. Mitchell Hedges found his skull and all that. There's different skulls around the world though that are supposed to be like these religious artifacts, mystical artifacts, and they it was too much sci-fi. So spoilers again, they bring in aliens and everything in it, and it just made it too much to me, like Star Wars and Indiana Jones mixed together, and they were never anything alike. So you shouldn't bring in sci-fi like that in the Indiana Jones. And then this last one here was another kind of sci-fi, a Dial of Destiny. Indy's going to go back in time. But when he went back in time, he sounded like the old man. They didn't bother to change his voice or anything. And I couldn't see it, but obviously they made him look younger for the flashbacks. But I'm listening to it the whole time, and I'm like, this doesn't even sound right. Some of the decisions he made, I don't think Indy would have made. And so that's the franchise. 5 movies, I believe, or maybe 6. It's come down for me since the last 2. I mean, before that, I probably would have gave it an 8. After that, maybe 7. It's going to be down a lot, 7 out of 10. I bet online people probably give it between a 7, 8, or 7.5. But I will do that. 7 for Indiana Jones franchise. And now we got a little bit of cartoons to talk about. Spider-Man. I went and listened to all 5 of the animated season. It was from mid 90s to late 90s, I believe, 1990s. And then the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends only had 2 seasons, like 20 some episodes. So we'll do the Amazing Friends first. It was Spider-Man, Firestar, and Iceman. They lived together with a dog, a little puppy, Miss Muffin or something. And they're in the college, I think, or high school. And they fight villains, but there's everybody comes on there. Fantastic Four, Iron Man, Captain America. So it's a neat little, series. And X-Men, Wolverine, all of them. And they're all great. And the episodes are really good. I mean, they don't make stuff like this now. And this was for kids back then. Good stories, good plots. This was before the X-Men cartoon from the 90s, late 90s. And then the Spider-Man, it's just the animated one, was even better. I mean, they just brought it up. And that's where they wrote in all the stories like the Insidious 6 and the Secret Wars, which they're about to do finally. Madam Web was way different. There's just so many stories, and everybody crossed over as well in that cartoon. X-Men, uh, all the Marvel stuff, Hulk, I believe. Yeah, I don't remember too much of seeing Hulk. Blade. I do remember Blade. There was a lot though. I don't know if Hulk was Daredevil, Blade, Punisher. They're all on both of them, I think. Hulk maybe not so much. For some reason, maybe there was a rights. Hulk had a few of his own cartoons. Didn't really cross over until recently. Now he does. He's on everything with Iron Man, and Captain America, Spider-Man. But back in before like the 80s and that, Hulk wasn't really, until that TV show came out, he wasn't really popular. But that I'd give the animated Spider-Man an 8. The 5 seasons from the late 90s. And then 2 seasons of Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, probably a 7.5, because there wasn't really much there. Uh, there might be more, but online, that's all there is. It seems like that's all there was 26 little short episodes. So, but that's a good bit of stuff here. And we'll be back. We'll be back soon. And love is a choice, and so is to hate.